All righty, welcome to Zone and Sports. We are back after some tumultuous weather here in the Midwest. We made it through it. E, how you doing out there today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a great weekend, great evening last week. Checking out Godfrey, the
All right,
comedian. That was
all right,
nice.
all
But
right.
yeah, everything is good, man. I'm glad everything is okay over there with the storms we had last week. Everybody, this part of the country, we can get some really severe thunderstorms that can produce tornadoes here in the Midwest. And St. Louis always tends to, at least once a year in the spring and summer, we bound to get something. And last Friday was no exception. It was pretty hectic around here.
Yeah, man. I said, if we have any problems today, it's because I'm dealing with some Wi-Fi issues, so I had to hotspot it and do some stuff like that. But we're gonna make it through this sucker here and get it popping. So let's get it cracking. The first thing I'm gonna share with you today is I sent you a text yesterday, and I happened to be on Locked On. Is it Locked On College Football? That's the one I was on. Okay, and I was going kind of back and forth, and it was just friendly banter with Spencer McLaughlin, and we were talking. He put up a video, and it's basically said that we should not expect Miami to make the playoffs this year. Great video if you want to go and watch it and see some of the things he was talking about it. But I'm just gonna screenshot some of the exchanges that we had together. See if I can get that up and just get your opinion on how you might feel about what he was saying. Because at first he made it seem like they wouldn't make it regardless. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's the case, because they actually can make it with a 10-2. And that's kind of how the exchange kind of got started. Let me put this up here on the screen so people can see it here. And that way we could put these receipts up here so people could see it. All right. So basically, it started off with him and I. I said, you stated that 10-2 would not get Miami in the playoffs, but Miami could lose to Notre Dame and Florida and run the table in the SEC. So the real question, do you think that's likely? That's what I posed to him. So, and he responded, let's see what he responded. He said, not very likely in my opinion. He said, number one, defense has a lot of growth to do. Two, Beck is not as good as Ward. So I responded, I said, well, I agree. I don't think that Miami can run the table in the ACC. I need to see the defense for a couple of games. If Beck is half as good as Cam Ward and the defense is better, they will have a solid season. But I don't know if that's good enough for Canes fans, though. And then he responded, said, I think Beck has to be more than 50%, which I was kind of being a little bit facetious. Like, I don't think he had to be 50. He got to be better than 50%. But I digress of Ward. But the defense, if the defense approves, he doesn't need to be 100%. So that's basically how I kind of went back and forth between us. What do you think about that?
He's
And that's
entitled. I'm not saying
before
he's
we
wrong.
started. That's Shane McLaughlin. You can find him on Locked On College Football. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead, Greg.
I'm not saying he's completely wrong. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. I mean, I can see guys that are analysts being skeptical of Miami's defense after what we saw last year. I think what's in play is Shannon Dawson's offense and what he's going to tailor around Beck. People at this point here in March, going into April, we need to move on from Cam Ward. The mentality and feelings and thought process, we need to move on from him, with the exception of rooting for him in the draft and whatever NFL team he ends up with. If you want to be a continued fan of Mr. Ward, which is just fine. I hope he does well also. But as far as his tenure here at Miami as a player is over, and we don't need to regurgitate last season. That's water under the bridge. The defense was an issue, and it cost Miami some games, and it cost them a chance in the playoffs. As I stated before, Miami has to not only play the other teams, you got to play against a cable sports network and a committee that one wrong slip up, it may cost you a playoff run. I could see losing. I could see 10-2 and going to the ACC championship game. They would have to win that game to make the playoff.
Yeah,
I don't think they could lose to Florida and Notre Dame and then run the table in the ACC perhaps and go 10-2 and then lose to a Clemson or to somebody else. It would have to be Clemson, because if Miami ran the table, let's say they get to the ACC title game 10-2 and lose to Clemson, I could see the committee keeping them out.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see them also winning that game and going 11-2 with 2 non-conference losses, and they'd be in.
Yeah, and that was my thinking when I said it. My thing was they had to. I didn't articulate it in the post, but it was them winning it all and finishing the season 11-2. But I was running the conference. I meant running all the way through the title game.
Yeah, they would have to win that game, but I don't see them losing to both Florida and Notre Dame. I don't know. I can't say. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, man, they got a chance to run the table completely, because they do. Right. But we don't know what the defense is going to look like. Yes, it's been revamped. Yes, you got new people. The people in the secondary are very solid. They look solid, but we won't know until game time.
Right, true.
Kane, good morning.
Good morning to you, brother.
Good afternoon. It's a little after 1 on the East Coast. But we don't know yet. So that's to be seen. I know Shannon Dawson is revamping the offense a little bit to fit Carson Beck more than it would fit Cam.
Right.
Cam a different quarterback. Like I'm telling you and everybody else out here, that's that away now. Okay. Last year was last year. And I'm a huge Canes fan. I don't even want to watch games from last year. I really don't. If I watch YouTube games, man, I'm telling you, it's from the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm not looking at games in the last 10 years because it don't excite me like that.
Right.
Even with victories, I told you I watched that Wake Forest game and I was disgusted again. Just because of the defense.
Right.
Now, I wasn't disgusted with the offense, but just the way the defense just, So
yeah,
I leave last year where it is, man. This is a new season. I don't have a problem with guys being skeptical. People are going to be skeptical.
Yeah, I don't either.
They're going to be skeptical. Right. Man.
All right. Yeah, we made it through the tornadoes. Like I said, 805 K's, we dealing with some internet issues. Well, I am today. But we made it through it, and we here cracking and trying to get stuff going. And before we continue on the Canes, we're going to switch it up a little bit. And usually Eric and I kind of stick to Canes topics, but I just thought this had to be addressed. And I think Canes fans might find this a little interesting, matter of fact. And I'm laughing before I even talk about it, because we're going to talk about somebody was down in South Beach, won you guys an NBA championship, and it's been having a back and forth with Stephen A. Smith. And I just kind of want to get this out the way a little early here. We're going to talk about the LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith back and forth. And I want to set the stage and play a little bit of his podcast with Gable Arenas, just a little snippet. And then we're going to dive into it and try to discuss this and break this down a little bit and see and get your thoughts on that. Let's see here.
Didn't have any intentions on talking about it until I woke up that morning and saw that the shit had gone viral. Once the shit had gone viral, the bosses at ESPN. Now you got to talk about it. See, this is you and him. You got to talk about it. I said, fine. So I go on the air and I said, the first thing that I'm going to do is establish that this was a father talking to me, not a player. And that was what threw me off. And I was glad, even though I thought that he misrepresented the argument, I was glad he did. Because you see, what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with his conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him.
Now, when I first started here, I saw the clips of him walking up, of course, to Stephen A. And I was like, what the heck is going on with LeBron here? And then after the fact, I started listening to other people talk about, oh, well, you know, he was upset because he's a dad. And my first thought was, the man is in the NBA, talking about Bronny. They can go back and say he was a kid. They can go back and try to spin all that he want. But I can remember Kevin Garnett. I can remember Kobe. Even though they might not have had the same, and I ain't gonna even say pressure, because it's hard to have pressure when your daddy is a billionaire and you got a $4 or $8 million contract. But wasn't nobody coming to their aid like they were coming to his. So what's your take on that, E? Before we get a little bit more into the video.
LeCarron was wrong for that.
LeCarron?
First of all, I thought that was weak of him to go at Stephen A. post game or whenever it was on the sidelines in front of all the cameras. They got each other's phone numbers, okay?
Yes.
They could have met like grown men in private behind closed doors if this was an issue of, you know, him being a father. We all fathers.
Right.
Why would you wait to do it in front of the cameras to try to dress this man down and everybody going to see it? To me, I felt like he was trying to make it more about him than making it more about his son. First of all, Stephen A. Smith gets paid the money he makes to express his opinion on sports.
Right.
He's a mouthpiece for a cable sports network, and that's what he gets paid to do. Mm-hmm. Second of all, your son is a professional athlete now. You pushed for him to be in the league when he wasn't even a starter in college.
Right.
There were guys that were better than him that didn't even get drafted. But you pushed to get your son on the same team as you. Okay?
Yeah.
So you have no recourse there, in my opinion. This is not about a father-son moment. This is about a young man that got critiqued for his game in the professional sports by a mouthpiece for a major cable sports network that gets paid to critique people in sports.
Yeah.
You have no grounds to dress this guy down. Right. And like I said, if you're going to dress him down, why didn't you do it before the game? Or why didn't you do it after the game? You could have met with him in the parking lot, in the locker room, in the office, at the Staples Center. There's a number of places you could have went. If you felt like he was out of line, you could have done it there. But by you doing it in front of the cameras and getting somewhat loud about it and animated about it, told me that you wanted it to all be about you. Yeah. Like, this man is attacking my son. No, your son is not that good.
Yeah.
And he got criticized for his game, just like anybody else would get criticized for their game. If you go to work, your supervisor or manager is not going to dress you down in front of everybody, because that's wrong and unprofessional. And they can be reprimanded for that in today's world. This ain't the old days where your boss can just verbally rip you and dress you down in front of everybody, and vice versa. You can't question your supervision in front of everybody. You don't do that.
Yeah. And so I was wondering.
I don't know why he would. I know why he did it. Like I said, he making it all about look, man, it's no secret. I don't like the dude. Everything about
he talking about LeBron, you guys.
everything about him. That's why he won't retire. He want to pass Kareem. He want to pass Jordan and Kobe and all this. In my opinion, he shouldn't even be a Laker. He a stain on the uniform. The Melo brothers should be out there together playing in LA, but they traded that to get this bum. So that's how I feel.
When he did it, my first thing was I was thinking to myself, like, what did people think Stephen A. should do? You know, I'm thinking like, first of
Doing
all,
what he get paid to do. He doing what he get paid to do.
No, I'm talking about in that instance. I'm like, he is supposed to be professional, because if Stephen A would have reacted the way people on the internet wanted him to react, then what? You know, I'm thinking like he said, you got my number. Well, if you don't speak to me, which I've heard they haven't spoken 10 years or whatever, because he's mad about whatever. But he's a professional. But you could have got Rich Paul. You could have got anybody to get in contact with him if you had a problem with him critiquing your son, you know, and set up something behind the scenes. That's not what you chose to do.
You shouldn't have said nothing. Your son is a professional athlete. You can't wipe his nose. You put him in this. You had him drafted when he should be playing in college or in the D League somewhere. He wasn't even the best player on the USC team, and he gets drafted to come play for the Lakers. Come on, man. Just the James name on the jersey is disgusting. So the Lakers died with Dr. Buss and Kobe, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more up here and let people listen to a little bit more of it.
Which I'll get to in a second. But because he didn't do that, I said, fine, you let it go. Mind you, that day was when it was announced. It's all over, everywhere. I mean, right? Yeah. It's a nationally televised game. Mm-hmm. The cameras are rolling. And I'm like, if I do anything, this is going to be a scene. Mm-hmm. Now, we can sit up here talking about all we want to and act like we don't work for somebody. Damn it, I work for Walt Disney.
And see, that's what I was talking about. He took the professional role because he, like everybody knows, we all have an employer, you know, unless you self-employed. And certain things you could say in public can cost you your job. So, you know, when people say, "Oh, Stephen was weak," he took
the high road, man. He let LeBron. LeBron wanted to get some views and likes, like a female. He wanted some views and likes. Okay, what you got to say on this camera in front of everybody, since you couldn't come to me and talk to me face to face about the situation. You wanted to wait till all the cameras was up, everybody at the Staples Center looking, and you looking like you dressing me down. Okay, all right, you get that. You got that off. All right, but it really showed when you read all the comments. It made him again. It made him look soft. It made him look weak, because I think any father in that situation, they're not going to step in, because your son or daughter is now a professional and they are an adult, and that comes with the territory. If you don't want your child to be in that situation, then find something else to do. But if you
step back like LaMelo and them, step back like Carmelo, step back like even Gilbert Arenas. As much as he defends LeBron, he's not out there trying to push it. I'm gonna put this up for 805Ks. He said LeBron's mad because Stephen A says MJ is the GOAT. That's crazy. LeBron got some female tendencies, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we all agree there.
I read somewhere that way back when LeBron first started, his mother jumped in to defend him, and he told his mother to back off. If that's I saw that if that was his rookie year or his second year or something happened. And
and I've seen a lot of articles about him supposedly get guys traded off the team because they challenged them. I seen the one with I think Mario Chalmers talking about, you know, he called him a bitch, and next thing you know, he was gone. And I'm thinking like, man, what's going on with you, dude?
Man, like I said, it's no secret. At least people that know me, I don't care for him. I've never thought he was a GOAT. I never thought he was the king. I can name 10 forwards right now that I would pick before I pick him for my team. He wouldn't even make my bench. Yeah. I'm sorry. I could think of 10.
Come on now. I ain't gonna do LeBron like that.
I am. If I look back in the last 40 years, maybe 45 years, I know I can name 10 forwards, whether they're a power forward or a shooting forward, Jordan that I would take before him. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm just gonna go off basketball and stats, I can name 10, probably 15 forwards that I'm taking before him.
Yeah.
He has done nothing to impress me just because he can dunk. Shit, Harold Miner could dunk. Harold Miner was cold, but he didn't have a jump shot. He had no jump shot. So how long did Harold Miner last in the league? Not long, because he didn't have a jump shot. They called him Baby Jordan.
Right.
They called him Baby Jordan because he could dunk so good. He can facilitate the ball. Okay, he's a great passer. I'll give him that. But all this, that what he did 2 weeks ago against Boston, that fake flop against our guys. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And then
that's what 805Ks put up there.
Oh my God. Then he went out the game and didn't come back in. Oh shit.
Oh man. Hey, and then he got mad at Charles Barkley, but Charles was telling the truth. Say, I think he came back because Charles Barkley called him out. Say he probably gonna sit out the rest of the season and come back for the playoffs. What do you think about? Well, this is the narrative I don't like that you don't hear from a lot of players, especially on ESPN Spin. Is that why is he the only player that they say, hey, he needs help? Every time I turn on ESPN Spin, he needs help. He needs the best players. I don't know.
Because that's their boy.
We all need players.
That's their boy. They put him up there. Never forget that. People need to understand that this cable sports network, again, when he was in high school, they were the ones saying he was the next thing. They was the one buying him a Hummer on 30s. And it was live on ESPN that morning at high school, his senior year or whatever. I'm like, I don't know any 18-year-olds that can afford a brand new H2 Hummer sitting on 30s.
Right.
I'm like, so he's their brainchild. He's their deal. So
do you think that now that Luka's over there, that he's going to take more of the blame now than LeBron? Well, of course, everybody else takes blame, and LeBron never gets blamed. So, or on some of these shows. But how do you feel about Luka going over there? Or if he might stay, because I don't even know shit. Luka might be like, man, hell with this. I'm out at the end of the year.
Luka should have never got that job. Who was the other guy? Who was the other coach? It was a brother that had like 10 years experience.
No, I'm talking about Luka. Luka.
I mean, that worked out. That worked out better for Dallas because a healthy Anthony Davis would help Dallas.
Yeah.
Look, man, everywhere this clown is gone, he trying to get better players to help him. That's why he went to Miami in the first place. He had a good team in Cleveland when he was there. They went up in the finals and they got dusted by San Antonio. Swept 4 straight. And that's he decided to bounce and come down to Miami because he wanted to get with Wade and Bosh. And they still lost 2 final games. They went to 4 finals and he only won 2. You know, then he go to Cleveland and down 3-1, and then he cried, got Draymond suspended for a game so they could come back and win. I lost. But
Draymond is boy.
Well, now he is on camera. They is, but he wasn't this boy in that final. I lost all respect for him. I said, who does that? Who cries to the league to get a guy suspended? When you started this shit, if you go back and look at that whole incident, no, man, I'm sorry, bro.
Well, the funny thing about this, I have a lot of friends that's Laker fans, and even when we have healthy debates about LeBron, and they call him the king, to me they worship him. But hey, that's
Bron sexual. But Bron sexuals are what they are.
But I think I ended this debate one time. I said, name somebody that you know that's been out of the game 20 years and they still relevant. And he was like, hey, man, you got a point. Because we know a lot of players that's been out, Bird, Charles, all these guys. But the only thing that gets under LeBron's skin is MJ. That's it. You know, that's it. Because
First of all, there's no comparison. You can't compare the two because they play 2 different positions. Okay?
Correct.
MJ a guard. LeBron is a forward. You can't compare the two. LeBron will never be in the same room with Michael Jordan or Kobe or any guard. It's a lot of guards. Other guards I can name I would take before him and put him at forward. But if we just go name some forwards, you name just two of them. I'm prime Barkley, prime Larry Bird, Duncan, Weber, Garnett. I could keep going. Larry Johnson before he hurt his back with Charlotte. I'm sorry. The only difference between, I've been saying this for the longest. The only difference between Larry Johnson and LeBron James is 2 inches. One 6'7", one is 6'9". They both 250. But Larry Johnson coming out of UNLV had better footwork, had better ball handles, was more aggressive in the paint. So I'm taking him all day. He was a man amongst boys at UNLV. LeBron didn't go to college. Why didn't he go to college? No, anybody ever asked that question? Why didn't he go to college? They said he was supposed to be so great that he could come in the league, but I didn't see
he was the
that.
chosen one.
They chose him.
He was the chosen one.
Yeah, but chose by who?
Right.
Chose by who?
Like Kwame Brown always say. He said, what's the comedy he used? He says, stars are not born, they are created. That's what Kwame Brown always say. Shout out to Kwame Brown.
What was my man name out of East St. Louis that was so cold before his knees went bad? Darius Miles. He was rare. Garnett was rare. Kobe was rare. Daryl Dawkins was rare. These was the dudes that came out. These was the dudes that stood out to come out of the high school that could go to the next level.
Yeah.
They went up.
Yeah.
I mean, you seen what Vernon Maxwell said about playing against Kobe while Kobe was still 18 in the gym. Even he said, dude, you ready? You ready to go to the next level? I ain't never seen LeBron scrimmage against nobody in the league. And then they say, yeah, this dude is ready to go in the NBA. I ain't seen it.
Yeah.
All I seen was a cable sports network every day. Put this dude out there, like they put Alabama out there and the SEC out there. And the next thing you know, he gets drafted. I would have loved to see.
Now you're talking about.
I'd love to see that dude have went to college and see what would have happened in college.
Now, since you brought up Nick Saban, now this is interesting because I actually getting ready to defend Nick Saban on this one. I'm gonna post this up in this article here. I think I shared this with you too, and so the guys can see it here. It is this article right here. Okay. Oh, there it is, right there. And it says Nick Saban receives FCC criticism for profane stuff in my face on College Game Day. Now, if you guys want to read this article here, it's written by Alex Buyouts. We just spoke about him before. And the nooks and cranny of this article was he was on College Game Day, and he made comments. I think he might have said shit, and he might have said some other words. You have to read the article. And some people, ironically, one from the Midwest, from Missouri, called in to report him on using those words on College Game Day. And I said, man, you can't be that sensitive that you're upset because he used a cuss word. I always say this. You couldn't have played sports if you get mad because somebody used cuss words. I couldn't. The stuff I heard, shout out to Penn State for winning the national championship in wrestling too, while we're talking about that. And I really wanted Nebraska to dethrone them, but I digress. But yeah, you couldn't have played sports and not heard cuss words. So I just never get this PC corrective behavior that we're seeing here.
Well, I mean, everybody know who Nick Saban is. Nick Saban is not one to mince words. I'm not saying he was wrong or right. I mean, everybody gets, everybody ooh-ahs about, how he was in practice, how he handled his players and other coaches. And they love it on the sidelines when they see him blow up. And you've seen him blow up on who's the coach at Ole Miss now?
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, remember when Lane was his OC? He blew up on him during the game on the sidelines for something, and just people like that. Go all the way back when Jim Leland got into it with Barry Bonds back in like '91, and he threatened to, told him to pack up and leave. And people like that. They like that when the boss get all verbal and dress you down, and people tend to like that. So with Nick Saban, that's kind of like, and he's not about he doesn't seem like a man that's about BS. So and he sees there's some BS on that show. It's a lot of comical stuff on that show, and that may have touched a nerve or two with him.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he was just using it more to just describe something that was going on in the game. He wasn't taking a shot at anybody when he used the words, and I just think that some people. I'm not even going to get into some of the stuff that you see on just regular TV, and I'm going to tread lightly when I say this because I have nothing against any LGBTQ, whatever all the words is or anything. But in our day, you never saw anything like that on TV, and I'm just trying to be politically correct because I have nothing against them. But if a guy used the word shit on TV and you get that offended that you call the FCC, you have some problems. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff we see it on TV. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? And that's true because I remember when we were young, you never saw anybody curse on TV. Not even so much as the word.
They said he used the word bullshit on TV. That's what he said. They said he used the word bullshit on the air.
Okay, it's come to that on TV now. Not, I'd say over the last 20 years with television, they've kind of pushed the envelope a little bit with TV and to see what they can get away with. Like I said, when we were young, you never heard a curse word on television. You didn't even hear the word damn. I think first time I heard damn was when Florida husband died on Good Times and she had a breakdown in the kitchen. So otherwise, even on some of the most intense soap operas and evening soaps and television shows, you didn't have any type of vulgar language or harsh language. So, but this is 2025 and the envelope's been pushed for 20 years plus on television.
Right.
You went from not seeing any nudity to now you see a little nudity. Even with network television, you see more now than what you saw, say, 30 years ago in 1995. So for somebody to use the word bullshit on cable, I don't know why somebody would get upset. It's cable TV.
That was my whole thing. And I just didn't really kind of understand the gist of that. But, some people are sensitive. I guess they're taking and I guess people saying kids are watching. I'm guessing that was the guy's point.
The time. That is such a lame ass excuse, man. Kids are always watching. Just like when Janet Jackson boob popped out at the Super Bowl. The first thing that people say, well, this is a family thing. Family. I'm like, look, stop it. Okay.
Right.
They made a big deal about that. That was a publicity stunt by Janet and Timberlake. Okay.
Right.
Again, kids, they always talk about what kids are seeing. Kids see a lot worse than that at home with their parents.
For sure. And they listen to a lot worse music.
Right. They hear worse at school with other kids. So for somebody to say the word BS on the TV, like you said, whoever this person was, they need to go on and get a life or find something else to do because
I'm gonna put this up here from 805K. He said, I'm a Heat fan and I didn't like him when he was in Miami, going back to LeBron. I'm a D-Wade dude. Then he switched and said Kobe is the closest thing we'll ever see to Michael Jordan. Agree.
That's true. I mean, as far as but let me listen. When Ray Allen first came in the NBA, Ray Allen was a monster. If you go back and watch film of Ray Allen with the Milwaukee Bucks, he drove the paint and yoked that rock like no other. Him, Vince Carter was a bad dude on that. Clyde Drexler is another one. People sleep on Drexler. So, I mean, the people sleep on Clyde Drexler with what he used to do. So again, going back to that subject, yeah, I just again,
I know, yeah. There's no LeBron. Like I say, I can.
Okay. That's how I feel on that.
I try to keep it with LeBron. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that love him. It's just a thing that I just think that
love him. Okay, if you love this guy, you got a problem. Okay?
Yeah, it's a lot of people out there.
I don't love any sports figure. That's me personally.
It's some people that love LeBron, like love him, probably love him more than they love their own kids. Trust me. So
you're a for real fanatic, which is what you are. Then,
yeah.
I mean, I know it's plenty of guys, it's plenty of dudes I know. I got a lot of love for. They really on LeBron, like he just all that. I ain't gonna say who they are.
Yeah.
They think LeBron is.
I ain't either.
They think he the greatest, and I'm like, okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and just like you feel like LeBron is the baddest, greatest. I feel like there's 15 forwards I'm gonna take before him if I'm putting a team together. He ain't gonna make. He won't even make my practice squad. I'm sorry. He'd be lucky to make the practice squad. He damn sure ain't getting on the bus.
Okay, We're going to switch up real quick, and we're going to talk about now this article here. Now, this is interesting. We talked a little bit about this before, and this one here is it's going to talk about the NIL and the buyout. And when I read the article, basically what it's talking about is how they're retaining coaches through the NIL versus buying them out. So basically what they're saying is say, all right, do we want to fire this guy and buy him out, or just say, hey, we're just going to spend money in NIL, which is cheaper to go get some players to retain them for a year or two until his contract is over with. So this is a great, interesting read. It was by Pete Nakos. And if you guys get a chance to read this, go ahead. It talks about a couple of coaches, talks about the OU coach, a little bit about, trying to think of the other coaches talking about. But I wanted to get your perspective on them saying, okay, they're talking about, the coach from Florida. And they talked about how they paid DJ Lagway. They might want to get rid of the coach for Florida, but they say, well, hey, let's keep him instead of buying him out and just give DJ a bigger NIL deal.
Listen,
because basically, if you let him go, leaves Larry.
Florida knew if they would have fired Napier, Lagway was going to transfer. That was the rumor right there going into the season. That was the rumor. Remember, his job was on the line. Before the game against Miami, that was the talk. This is Napier's third year. If he can't get it turned around, Florida had the toughest schedule in the country. Remember? I ain't forgot.
Yep.
Leading up into that game, I ain't forgot. They had the toughest schedule in football. And if Napier can't turn it around, Florida gonna be looking for a new coach. And after Miami waxed that ass in the first game, remember, I watched that game, and all through that game, that's what they was talking about. What they gonna do about Napier?
Yeah.
So from a school's perspective, instead of me paying a coach $5 million or $8 million or whatever million to buy him out, to go find another coach and start all over again, I could use a third of that buyout money to try to entice some of these kids to come to my school, and keep certain ones I got, because Florida knew if Napier got fired, DJ Lagway was gone, and the first school in line to get him would have been Florida State. Florida State, and Notre Dame would have been at his doorstep. I think Penn State would have been. A lot of teams would have been lining up for DJ Lagway's services. and Florida would have fell into even more shambles than what they were already in if they would have lost him amongst some other talent. They've already lost. Even now, you lost your D-backs coach to Miami.
Yeah.
You lost a guy, one of your biggest prospects at cornerback, signed with Miami. So Florida ain't out of the woods yet, but they trying to hold it together. Why not pay Lagway more money? I'll stay. We might take some L's, but I'm getting paid.
Right.
All I got to do is be decent. I'm gonna get drafted. I can't do any. I can't.
Same thing about
can't do any worse than Anthony.
The same thing about Brian Kelly too.
Yeah,
they said Brian Kelly. They said LSU, instead of buying him out,
he'd be a huge buyout. Because
that's what I'm saying. So it's cheaper
LSU
for them to bring in more NIL players.
LSU would be. That's how they got old boy to come from Miami to be the 5-star cornerback. They threw him so much money. What was the kid name?
Yeah.
He came down to Miami and LSU, and I'm like, he gonna pick LSU because LSU gonna throw him a bag he can't refuse. I don't think LSU gonna be that great. I don't think LSU is gonna be all that. They're not gonna win the SEC, but they threw him a bag big enough where he said, "I'm just gonna go down there." And my money's so big that I could just fly my family down here to Death Valley to watch me play here because the money was right. Same with my man that went to A&M, the defensive tackle, when Mario tried to get him 3 years ago. Same thing. The money. If I fire the coach, I'm out of how much millions if I fire him. I'm not paying these kids millions. They're not worth millions. It's only a handful of. I can't believe Carson Beck got $4 million.
Yeah,
but he got it.
But
what do you think Lagway was worth? Lagway was probably worth at least half that. He knew.
Yeah, I think he got. I want to say $1.5 too, something like that. And it's interesting how now they. Oh, go ahead there. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say.
What's it, Eddie?
It lined up perfectly for Lagway. He had
and it's interesting.
He had a halfway decent season last year. He got hurt a couple times. They should have beat Tennessee when it went to overtime if he wouldn't have got hurt. I think if they would have protected him, they damn near could have beat Georgia. So it lined up nice for Lagway and for Napier. Hey, we'll get you some help. And our schedule ain't as tough this year. And maybe Florida can finish, 8-5 or not 8. Yeah, 8. What's that? No, 8-4. 12-game season. 8-4. Maybe 9-3. You know what I mean? Maybe they can make a run. They're not expecting to go 12-0. They're not expecting to go 10-2. But I think they expect to do better than 6-6 or 7-5. I see 8-4 for them, maybe.
Yeah. And so the article is interesting. I encourage guys to go out there and check it out because really we're seeing a change in contracts. So now if you're a coach, even people will even say that Dabo under a little pressure, even though he got a lot coming back, he has a lot of experience, but by Clemson standards, they haven't won anything either in a while, talking about national championships. So it's interesting that they're saying, okay, well, we'll spend money on NIL and retain coaches. Because years ago, it would be like, hey, all right, you want to leave this school? We'll just buy you out. We don't care if it's $20 million. Buy you out. You can go somewhere and build your own program. But now they're saying, no, we don't want to buy you out. We'll keep you here, even though we might want you gone, and we'll just get you help. And then if things don't work out at the end, we'll just let you walk. So that's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dabo created his own monster. He built Clemson up, and the last few years they haven't lived up to what they had before. They're hoping this year they can take it to that level. You've had all these great quarterbacks from EJ. I mean, from all the great quarterbacks they had, at Clemson. You won your national championships. He's won 2 of them down there. So he's hoping that the quarterback they got now can be better, and I think he will be better. Now, we'll see as far as how they do. I mean, it's to be seen with Clemson, but Dabo is under a little pressure. I think he is, but Clemson ain't gonna fire that man. Who you gonna replace him with?
Well, yeah. I mean,
if Dabo, and I still think there's an outside chance Dabo ends up at Alabama because that's where he went to school. He won a national championship under Gene Stallings when they beat Miami in '93. He was on that team. He got Alabama in his heart. I know he beat them a couple of times, but he still got Bama in his heart. That's where he went to school. So if old boy can't win, now that's a school with high standards. Nick Saban set the bar so high. Old boy came from Washington, and I don't know how Bama gonna look this year. They ain't got Milroe, and I'm interested to see what Alabama gonna look like this year. Because if they fall back into some 8-4, 7-5 shit, they gonna be ready to commit suicide down there.
Oh man! So talk a little bit about the new stud running back that's coming in.
He nice, man. He nice in high school. I mean, he was nice enough that Clemson wanted him and Georgia wanted him, Notre Dame wanted him, amongst a few other schools. He was highly sought after. It wasn't like Western Michigan wanted him, and it wasn't like UCF wanted him or New Mexico wanted him. You had some real blue blood schools that wanted this dude.
Right.
So for them to get him and make that running back room even deeper, that's big because Fletcher might be going in the draft after this season. So yeah, you got another 4-star home run hitter back there.
Yeah. And like I said, that portal get ready to open up and we get ready to see.
Yeah, that's interesting right there.
Yeah, get ready to see some stuff moving around.
We'll see some more moving right now.
I've been hearing I haven't watched a lot of the clips on some of the spring games that's been going on. I've been hearing some stuff that people not really impressed with the quarterback play of the two, but it's early, so I don't know how true that is because I'm not tapped in like that where I can actually know. But if you guys do out there and do know down there, let me know what y'all think of the quarterback play that's been going on down there. Yeah, been hearing great things about the defense, though.
The defense, the secondary, the trenches, offense and defense. Yeah. That's huge. I've watched a little film of Mario working with the offensive line and Jason Taylor working with the defensive line, going head up and making these boys work. And Miami could very well this year arguably have the best offensive line in the country. That's why I wouldn't feed into what your back and forth with Guy was about Miami not making the playoff. If you have the best O-line or one of the best, they and Notre Dame will probably have the best offensive lines in the country as far as consistency, depth, the same guys coming back playing, except for the center position, but you got another veteran center in there now. Again, that right side, that O-line is going to be stupid. Behind Cooper and Maui, man, that right side is going to be, oh my goodness. They're going to be, I think Miami going to be okay, man. I really do.
I think so too. And that was kind of my thing.
I don't know what their record going to be, but I think they're going to surprise some people this year. But I gotta stress this to everybody. Don't regurgitate 2024.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing when I was talking with me. I don't know if it was Shane that was in that chat with the Locked On college football. I don't know if it was him or somebody controlling his account. But, like my critique of him is that First of all, we don't know. We don't know what type of injuries that anybody have. Clemson, their quarterback can go out and blow a knee first game. We don't know. So that could change a whole bunch of stuff. But
we don't want that anyway.
Said if you put everything on the table, there are some unknowns with the Canes. I said, but when you got the trenches, most people have athletes and the trenches they're trying to build up. Not Miami. Miami has the trenches. So, when you got the trenches, that gives your quarterback more time. It gives your running backs. They don't have to be Saquon Barkley when you're running through big holes. You don't need that when you got that good of an offensive line or defensive line. So that line could carry you a long way.
It could slow the game down. You can physically pound the other team all game. So by the time the fourth quarter comes, then it's, then you can really tee off on a team. When you got a line like that, I'm really encouraged with this line. Last year's line was good. Not to regurgitate last year. They had a good line last year. They had one of the best lines last year. I'd say last year Miami probably had a top 7 O-line last year. This season, it's arguably them and Notre Dame having the best line in the country. And everybody's going in with open question marks. Bama,
right?
Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State. A lot of guys have graduated and gone on to the league. Colorado's got question marks. Everybody's got question marks going into this season.
Right.
Oregon, even though Oregon looks solid coming back. So it's to just critique Miami, I think is disingenuous to say the least, because every school has got some question marks, especially those that win in the playoffs. I don't think you'll see another Iowa State make a run like they did last year. I don't think SMU is going to make a run like they did. I don't think you'll see Indiana making a run. I could be wrong, but your blue blood schools like your Ohio States and I think Michigan is they're going to be better than average. Penn State, they lost some people. So I mean, you don't know about Penn State.
Yeah.
So like I say,
same with
Missouri. Look at Mizzou. You lost Brady Cook, you lost Luther. What's Missouri going to look like? Are they going to be?
Yeah.
They not. I don't know if they're going to look the same. They're not going to look the same. But they're going to be able to put up the same type of W's. It's to be seen, man. So I think Miami will be okay, man.
All right. He says, man, I'm telling you, I'm starting to feel like Lagway might be one of those dudes to stay hurt. If he gets injured again this year, coming, I'll know for sure. Yeah, he's a little thin. So
well, that's because he don't have protection. And they want him to do more with the ball. They want him to do more with the ball. They fell in love with Anthony Richardson's style of play. And look at Anthony Richardson. I mean, he hurt too.
Hell, he getting broke up every year. He getting broke up every year.
This motherfucker said, I'm tired. I don't feel like coming back in the game. I don't want to play this week.
Hey, that's you Gator fans that produce Anthony Richardson. He straight quick going in the game. Man. I'm tired.
I'm tired. I don't feel like playing. Oh my goodness. Come on, man. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not saying Lagway is him, but he get hurt because he got to do too much. He don't have now. You put him behind Miami line with Shannon Dawson. Dude probably
he might,
nice. Dude would be nice with Miami.
Well, he damn sure wouldn't have to run too much. So
no, he ain't going to have to run for his life.
Damn sure wouldn't.
He had time. He had time to make a decision, throw it or get rid of it. So I just man, like I said, going back to what you said about the NIL versus buyout. Yeah, it's cheaper for the school. It's cheaper for the school to pay kids a little money to say, hey, come on over here. We'll give you, $100,000 or $250,000 to come here and play. Shit, some guys might only get 50,000. I'll take it. It beats a blank. I'm still going to school for free. I mean, like I said, I might not get in the league, but if I can make 50,000 for the next 2 seasons, that's 100 rack minus taxes.
Yeah.
When I go out in the workforce and work for a living, if I got 50 or 60 grand put away to start my life at the age of 22 or 23, knowing I'm not going to be a ball player, that ain't bad. But a lot of college kids will take that, graduate from college.
You ain't lying. Now I'm wondering how that's going to change. Right. I wonder how that's going to change hiring of coaches now with the NIL. Since you already know, giving these guys these big contracts, you don't want to buy them out anymore. So now that you got the NIL, you pretty much want to make sure this is the guy that you want.
I was going
to ride with for 5 years.
I was going to allude to that, Dwayne.
Okay.
I think now with the way things are, they're going to start. If a school has a star player or star players, they may have a little bit more influence today on a coach getting hired or not hired.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because who does the team, who does the school covet more? Do we covet the coach or do we covet the players? The coach is supposed to be long term. The coach is not short term. The coach is supposed to be long term. The player is short term because he's gonna give you 2 or 3 years, and if he is all that, he is going in the draft. The coach is who you want.
There's not too many coaches. Not too many coaches that you would say that required. You'll have Dion. You'll have probably you had who else out there that you would say that? Oh, you have Dabo. I'm trying to think of any other coaches you like. Hey, no matter what they say, go. Maybe I don't know any. Somebody give me some other coaches that you think that.
I don't even think Ohio State coach. He on the house.
No, they've been trying to get rid of him. Yeah,
and he won a natty. But if you can't beat Michigan, dog, I mean, that's for some Ohio State fans, the national championship ain't enough. He lost to Michigan.
Hey, now I know. Right, yeah, and that's crazy. So I'm just thinking of any coaches besides maybe Dion that you could say like whatever he says go, and maybe Dabo. Because I wouldn't even throw Lane Kiffin in there. I wouldn't throw a boy from maybe Oregon coach. Maybe they love him. So pretty much he might have the range.
I don't know, man. He got his ass whooped in that Rose Bowl.
But they love him up there.
They love him, but hell.
Man, I really hate to say this. I think Clemson is going to be a juggernaut this year. I think Cade is going to be the Heisman finalist. Might be a finalist. He's good. Although I heard Dabo saying that their cornerbacks are poo-poo.
I was just going to say that Clemson got some real studs on defense. Cade is a nice quarterback. He's come a long way since his freshman year. He's nice. I ain't gonna take it from him. But they got question marks at receiver. They got question marks on their line, and they got question marks in their secondary. So Miami got question marks too, but I don't think we'll see, man. We'll see. I
think Clemson got that defense back. I think they have a little.
They got them linebackers. They got some linebackers, dog. They got some linebackers that are NFL now. They got some real. They got some dudes on linebacker. I mean, I give Clemson credit. They developed some players, man. They've been doing this for a minute under him, and they got some studs at linebacker. They got that. Now, like I said, their offensive line, I'm not sure about. Their secondary is looking like Miami's was last year. They may have a season like Miami had last year, where they got to outscore
possible.
People. They may have that type of season where their secondary isn't all that. So I don't know how their running game look. I don't know if they're gonna be a juggernaut, they're gonna be above average. I'll give them that. They will be above average. You know, they showed me.
Who they open their season up against? Clemson open their season up. They got a pretty tough game too, don't they? But yeah, so yeah, I think Clemson is going to be. Well, of course, all the analysts are picking Clemson to win the ACC again.
Of course, because they're not trying to pick Miami, man.
Right.
They're not trying to pick Miami right now, and there's some bias in that. But hey, they play. Clemson plays LSU August 30th, and then that's the.
Now watch how they try to hype LSU up. Watch they try to hype them up to be like world beaters.
They don't have a very. I mean, their schedule does not look very daunting. They play at home against LSU, Syracuse, SMU, Duke, Florida State. They got Furman in November. See, Dabo took a page from Nick Saban. Let's play a high school team in November. So on November 22nd, the last game of the year, second or third, the last game, they play Furman at home. You know, that's that SEC. Let me play a high school team so we can pad our stats and position ourselves in this 4-game. Well, it was at the time a 4-game playoff. And then their away games, they're at Georgia Tech. That won't be easy. They're at Louisville. I'm not sure about Louisville. And they're at South Carolina, the last game of the year. So I think South Carolina is going to be one of the teams to watch in the SEC with old boy at quarterback. I think he's going to be a Heisman finalist. That quarterback out of South Carolina. Yeah. So they don't have a very – I can see them going 9-3, 10-2, somewhere in there. I mean, if they slip up against somebody, you know, if they slip, I think Georgia Tech could give them a game. I don't see North Carolina doing nothing. At Louisville,
they hyping up North Carolina too.
They can hype them up because old boy is there. That don't. What kind of recruits he got? North Carolina. The at Louisville game on a Friday night. That could be a trap game for Clemson on a Friday night at Louisville. Yeah. Oh, that's a crazy. I've been there. That's a raucous. That place rocks at Papa John. It ain't Papa John's no more, but Louisville come out hard for their team.
Right. Now this going back to we were talking about the quarterbacks. You said we need Luke Nickel to develop very quickly. He's struggling, which is normal. But if Emory transfers, we need a number 2 that can go. QBs get hurt often. Cam was the last one I can remember who didn't. Oh, and also 805Ks, if your buddy got pictures of the spring practice, tell him to send me some on my email, zoneinsports@gmail.com. Like, check them out so I can post them up there, buddy.
If Luke is struggling, it's because the defense in Miami is there, and he's transitioning from high school to college, and it's a springtime. So, yeah, I mean, I look back when Kenny Kelly was playing in Miami, and he got hurt, and Dorsey had to come in the game at Virginia Tech, and he looked like a deer with headlights in his eyes. He was only a sophomore, and you thought, oh, snap, they're not going to win with Dorsey in there if Kelly don't hurry up and get back. And they lost that game. He missed a pass. He missed a touchdown pass to Santana in that game. I remember that. So you gotta let Luke. It's only we ain't even in April yet. He's going to develop. Right. He's going to get time for the spring. He's going to have all summer and fall camp to get ready. So we got months and months for him to get ready to be ready to come in and play. They hyped up the old boy that came out.
Yeah, and even Mario just said that.
Yeah. I mean, look how they
Mario,
hyped up
he didn't say that, yeah.
What was his name out of Bishop Gorman, the quarterback that came from Nevada? And they hyped him up and thought he was going to be all that, and he turned out to be – he was all right. But I think Miami lacked on quarterback development at that time. I think Dawson has gotten better. I think Shannon Dawson having Cam Ward there – you got to remember, it's not just the quarterback, it's the offensive coordinator who is / the QB coach. He's got to get better too, and he has to evolve. And
Right.
He's going to tailor this season for Carson Beck. And
Right.
all I want is 2023 Carson Beck. If we got 2023 Carson Beck,
Right.
shit. Who says Miami can't run the table? If he come back in the elbow good with that line, and they put the offense around him, and the tight end is what the tight end is supposed to be, and the receivers do what they in that running game. I just need 2023 Carson Beck. That's all. I
just need that defense just to be a little better at getting turnovers. I think
all.
Turnovers is the key. If they can make it a little bit easier on themselves, where they're not on the field a lot,
keep the other
and they
team
can create some turnovers.
Keep the other team 24 or less. I'm not even gonna say 17, what Warren Sapp used to say, because you got to be elite on defense to just say give me 17.
Oh shit, you got to be elite.
If you can
right now,
keep the other team at 24, 21, 24,
right.
Somewhere around in there, that way the offense can get some points, and like I said, get some turnovers. Be more aggressive, get some turnovers, and the special teams do a little something different this year, because last year the special team outside of field goal kicking was pretty vanilla. They didn't do anything. They didn't run any kickoffs back. They didn't run any punts back. You gave up some kickoff for that shit against Vanderbilt. No, Wake Forest.
Like I said,
God, man.
Yeah, they gave up that special teams got to be better. And like I say, a lot of that stuff can take a lot of pressure off of your defense if you change the field position. There's a lot of factors that go into it. That's why when he wrote that article, I didn't have time to really dive all into it with them and explain it all. But it's a big difference when you making a defense drive or offense drive 80 yards in comparison to 40, 50 yards. So even though they were getting burnt, they was getting burnt.
Everything gonna play its part, man. I'm not, like I said, I'm hoping that the fans will be optimistic. I'm not even gonna say be cautiously optimistic. Don't go into this season with stupid expectations. I'm going into the season thinking 10 wins is the norm. I think 10 wins should be the floor now. With the type of talent you have, with the type of line you got, I'm expecting I will be disappointed with 9-3.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed.
I think they got in the making, and it's not me being a homer. I just think that when you got the talent that they got, and they didn't brought in guys to fill holes in positions, I think I got a pretty good idea. Mario and them kind of got a good idea of what they're doing. I just feel like they know what they need.
He's got some pressure on him now. Mario got some pressure because because the school let him flip that whole defensive coaching staff, with the exception of Jason Taylor. They gave you some more money to go out there and buy out the coaches that have left. The coaches that volunteered to leave, they let them go. And Mario is in season 4 now. You were brought here to. They didn't bring you here to win the ACC championship. They brought you here to win a natty. So I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but this year is definitely a stepping stone to getting up there. And I don't mean just making a playoff appearance. I mean winning the ACC, getting in the playoff, and quite possibly getting to that Final Four spot. Maybe even making the game. Even if you lose the national championship game, you should be close at this point. You should be close within striking distance to where, this season could really propel a lot of recruits to really come your way in 26 and 27. And the kids that you got last year and this year, if they're being developed like they should be, I can see some special things happening in the next.
And the funny part, Mario, I read an article. He's not even one that's really on the hot seat. You got guys like the Alabama coach. You got he's not even on the top 10.
I don't think he's not on the hot seat. Dwayne.
Now maybe by Miami fans he is, but
No, he's not on the hot seat. He got a 10-year contract. He's not on the hot seat. He just is the pressure. Just say the vice is getting a little tighter with season 4.
Oh yeah, okay? yeah.
The vice has gotten tighter.
Yeah, the vice is with.
You went in there. You replace just your whole defensive coach. You replace all your staff with except one, and I don't like I said before. I don't think it was all Lance Guidry. I really don't. I really think a lot of it was personnel because Lance Guidry was there the year before, but you had Cam and Williams at the secondary position. You had my man at linebacker number 11 that went to Mizzou. You had some different people on that team 2 years ago, and they were if you would have had that defense from 23 with the 24 squad, we'd have been singing his praises, and they would have had a national championship. They would have had a natty with that defense.
Right.
If you'd have had that team,
that defense,
that defense from 23 with that personnel, with last year's offense, they would have beat anybody in the country.
Yeah,
but if
I agree there, that defense was there. He says, "Nah, bro, Clemson got some of the best wide receivers in the country. Them boys ain't young no more."
I'm not doubting that because I wasn't sure about their wide receiver core. Thanks, 850 Kane, 805 Kane. I wasn't sure about their wide receivers. I just know their line is questionable. Their secondary is questionable, and I'm not sure about their running game. I haven't heard or seen about a running back that they have that's stand out. So I mean, like I said, everybody got question marks going into this year. I don't think there's any clear cut favorite. You can't just go off where they fell with recruiting. Who was number 1 and number 2? Of course, I'm interested to see what those bums in Bristol, Connecticut, going to say about who they think is the top team for college this year. Who they feel like is the number 1 team in college football this upcoming season? Because I haven't heard who anybody thinks is a clear cut team that could be just
number 1. Yeah,
number 1.
Yeah, because even like if you look at Notre Dame, we still don't know who's going to win that quarterback.
They lost a lot of people. Right, they lost a lot of people.
Yeah,
like you said, I no doubt Clemson going to be good. I think Miami's going to be.
Yeah,
good.
They're going to be good. Right.
Where's Ohio State going to be at? I haven't heard much.
Right.
Where's Penn State going to be at? What about, like I said, you got in the SEC, you got Florida and South Carolina. What are they going to look like this year?
Is Alabama going to make a run? I mean, after the last season, they're going to be mad after the season they had last year. Or are they going to be better?
Yeah, I would dare say they're going to come out and say Texas is the top team. I'm really leaning to them saying
Sarkisian loaded over there.
Yeah, he's loaded. And you got old boy at quarterback.
Yeah,
you got Manning at quarterback. You got Archie sitting there, so it's like okay, they're gonna probably say Texas is by far the best team right now. Same with Oregon. How are they gonna look?
Right.
How's Colorado gonna look? How's Kansas gonna look?
Right.
It's Iowa State again. What they gonna look like? What is Oklahoma gonna look like this year? They didn't, they weren't that great in the SEC. They had the big win against Bama. How they gonna look? So I mean, like I said,
it's interesting because I just want to know, like, for all the Clemson fans, how much better do they think Clemson is better than everybody in the ACC? Because I don't see that big of a gap between
I don't either.
Clemson. I think it's a lot of teams closing on Clemson.
I don't think they're that. I think a lot of that is because of the quarterback. And
he's good. Cade is good.
He's good. He's good. Yeah. When I watched him against Pittsburgh, dude, Pittsburgh could have won that game, and then he did that run at the end and took it to the house and just broke their backs. Same when they went to Virginia Tech. Like Virginia Tech, I don't have nothing for them because you come down to Miami. I'm at that. You come down there and you look like you legit. And then You got a home game, prime time against Clemson, and I didn't see that same team at home.
Right. Yeah.
So I just don't. To me, Tech ain't been the same since Beamer left, and I don't see nothing out of them. I don't see nothing out of North Carolina. Florida State, don't know.
Yeah, don't know.
Don't know about them.
Right.
North Carolina, no. Louisville, that's the
What's
team.
they could do? They think they're going.
Didn't they quarterback leave though?
Yeah, I think he was he a transfer? I'm not sure. 805 case. No, did you see this? Did y'all see Darian Coleman with Cam? I did not. Did you see him?
Miami gonna be sweet. Hey man, look, this dude here, Nickel is nice. This guy that's coming behind him, boy. Miami gonna be set at quarterback for a minute. This kid I watched that with him, and I'm like, he has some pop with that ball, and I mean some nice.
Oh, was that the video that they did? They showed him out there throwing it was somewhere indoor. And they had
I seen them outdoors with Cam.
Friendly competition going on.
Man.
Okay, I think I seen one indoor with somebody, and they was doing some drills, and oh boy was slinging that rock.
Man, he nice. He is very nice. The future is bright for Miami, man. The future is really bright. You got to give Mario credit. He started with the trenches, and he solidified the trenches, and he's going after some big time guys on both sides of the ball because he knows if you're going to win, it starts there.
Yeah.
It starts there, man, and you can't win without that. So you got to give Mario credit. He's trying. He got a 10-year deal, and I think realistically, he's thinking to himself, out of 10 years, he should win at least 3.
3 ACC or 3 national?
3 national. No.
Really?
3 national. Out of 10 years, you going into year 4, man. You going into year 4. Okay, he's building the same way Saban did. And it took Dabo how many years at Clemson? Dabo wasn't winning right away. Dabo got the job, 07 or 08 at Clemson? It took him a few years to get it going, but once he got it going, shoot. Once he got it going,
the hardest one to win is the first one. So
once he got it going, he got it going. So it's going to take a lot of PR by Miami to get back into good graces with the media and get that hate out.
You think the media play that big of a role?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. I can make you or break you in the papers and on TV.
Yeah.
Why do people not like Barry Bonds? You ask people, why don't you like Bonds? Give me a reason. Why don't you like him? What did he do for you not to like him?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I can't think of nothing. I mean, if you want to say he's arrogant, most guys that are good at their craft are arrogant. They're good at it. I don't care what you do.
Right.
You could be a fisherman if you cast a line and catch a fish every time. After a while, it's like, man, look, I do this. This is what I do. I'm good at what I do. I mean, and no matter what it is, you could be out. You could be cutting grass, and if you make the best lines with your 0-turn mower, I mean, hey, you're the guy with the mower.
A lot of people. I'm gonna just say a lot of people, and I think it was more sports writers than anything, was the whole steroid, whatever the stuff they tried to say. You know, they took McGuire's name and all that stuff down.
It started in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh writers.
Yeah, we know it was way before the steroids. I think they used that just to put the nail in the coffin.
They took a dislike in the Bonds in Pittsburgh. So the media can make or break you. Okay. Yeah. They love Shaq because Shaq a nice dude. Shaq, he played police with the police, and everybody loves Shaquille. And, okay, but if you're a different kind of guy, and you don't jive with the media like a Marshawn Lynch, they gon' make you look bad. You know.
Yeah. And shout out to Barry Bonds. If you didn't see his interview on All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and them. It actually was a great interview. I haven't seen too many interviews with Barry Bonds. I think if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
Check it out. That man is the greatest baseball player to ever walk on the field. People don't need people. I mean, it's been some great players,
right?
From Willie Mays to Hank Aaron. Don't get his credit. Hank Aaron was a hell of a hitter. He just wasn't a home run hitter. He was a hell of a hitter.
Yeah.
But what Bonds did is just ridiculous. He did before he went to San Francisco was ridiculous.
He was a Hall of Famer before he went to San Francisco.
Before he signed with the Giants, he was already 3-time MVP. The man was ridiculous, okay? He just can hit. Some people can just – the man could hit. His hand-eye coordination was second to none. And steroids can't help you with hand-eye coordination. Some people he can hit the ball. Some people can run the football. That's why I don't get into who's the greatest running back. There's too many of them to name that was so good. You know, we had a little argument during the Super Bowl. Yeah, I like Saquon Barkley. Do I think he's better than Eric Dickerson? Eric Dickerson was a bad dude. I mean, but it's so many of them. You could never say so the best running back. It's too many of them. Just like with basketball. In my opinion, I kind of follow my daddy's footsteps. I think Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest basketball player of all time.
Man, I thought you were going to say LeBron.
No, come on. I think see, a lot of people in our era are going to say MJ because that's our time. But I think what Wilt Chamberlain did coming out of college, going to the pros, he was just him. And then behind him, what Kareem did in high school and what Kareem did in college, them two dudes is probably for real the GOATs. And then Russell is right there with them. And what they all got in common, they all the big man. And you don't have a big man today. You don't have the same kind of basketball. You can't hand check. You can't play defense. Everybody want to shoot threes. Nobody sets up plays. Everybody just want to shoot threes. And the NBA ain't even – I'd rather watch the college basketball. So, it's just hard to say who's the best at certain things. But Bonds is clear cut.
Yeah.
When you have other great baseball players that were really, really good, like a Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones was a bad dude when he came to Atlanta, and then when he came on. When him and others to tell you that, look, man, we're here, and Bonds was way up here. Come on, man, that speaks for itself. And so going back to the writers, whether it's football, any sport, the writers can make or break you, and if you don't so much kiss their butt and be the Mr. Nice Guy and go along, and they can write bad things about you, and they can. Yeah. I mean, look at they.
And I would even say this: and we don't throw too much about Deion. It actually was kind of helping him his first year there, because when you look at that first year team, we knew they wasn't as good as they was, but they was getting a lot of push. I knew it would take Deion time to get where he wanted the program to go, but the writers, they wanted that money, and they was pushing them. They were trying to get them in the bowl games. They was hoping. It was
this way with Deion. This way they wanted him in the bowl game. This way they wanted him to fail miserably, crash and burn.
Well,
they wanted him to crash and burn. So. Deion is
so much now. Well, I ain't gonna say now. I think I respect him, so I can't speak for nobody else. But
I respect him. I respect him. I respect him. I respect what he's doing. I respect what he's done. I know the Colorado fan base love him up there. I don't think it was right for people to take shots at him for leaving to go to Colorado, because at the end of the day, it's about that money. And even still, I respect Deion because he stayed to his word. He didn't go in the NFL. I would have lost respect for him if he'd have went to the NFL. He said he didn't want to coach NFL. He did not. He can't coach grown men. He can't teach grown men, and he stayed true to his word. And he's trying to put some good coaches around him in Colorado, because I would love to see a Miami Colorado national championship. That would be a dream national championship.
They say Dion wanted some smoke with some spring games. I don't know how that's going to work out. He's been on trying to get
well, because the NFL does it. The NFL, they have preseason. They practice with each other. You'll see two teams practice with each. What was that one season where the Redskins and Cowboys did scrimmages against each other? These are all professional. They're getting paid. So if colleges are getting paid, I can see it. Why not? Within your own conference.
I can see it. Maybe not now. Maybe a couple of years down the line. Maybe
I can see it.
Yeah. I think he threw it out there and people kind of like, hey, maybe it might be a good thing.
Even if they restricted to let's say 850 Kane. Texas probably be the only ones in the SEC they're gonna probably be number one. But even in preseason or summertime, I can see if you stay within your state, let's say Missouri scrimmage with Missouri State or Missouri. It all depends on the NCAA rules and what rules are in play, and if they relax rules. I could see a Missouri scrimmaging maybe with a SEMO or a Lindenwood or something, just so you can kind of gauge and see where you are without guys really getting hurt. This ain't for all the marbles. We just having. I mean, look what we did in high school.
Right.
Y'all came and got us sophomores and freshmen and used us as guinea pigs on the field.
Yeah.
We was just happy to get on the field, the real field, they used us just to gauge where y'all was at. Right. I can see that in the college game. I can see it because guys are getting paid now. Why not? You use a real reps.
I think a lot of things going to change in college football when you
money
implement pay.
Everything.
The money changes a lot.
Money changes everything. Lot.
All right, well, guys, we're going to wrap this up for today. We appreciate you guys checking in with us. If you had problems with our internet connection, I apologize because, like I said, we're coming from some storms. Smash that like button. If you want to purchase a shirt, go to zoneinsports@gmail.com. Eric's rocking the green one over there. And anything else you want to say before we get out of here, bro?
Yeah, we'll touch back down next weekend. Miami got a whole nother week of practice this week, indoor and outdoor, and getting ready for this spring game. So I'll be monitoring all the different websites and blogs and see what's going on and catching videos and see basically what they're doing and how people are progressing. And we'll get back at it next week and talk about it. And I just want everybody in the Canes world out there in Canes Nation to just exercise a little patience.
That's it.
Leave last year behind. We don't need to keep talking about last year, the good or the bad. This is a new season. We got a new quarterback. He's going to get a new offense or new plays, I should say, added to the offense. So let's just look forward to this season and let's not go in with too many expectations.
Right.
Why set yourself up for disappointment? We just one day at a time. I'm not in a hurry to get to August. We just getting ready to start spring.
Right.
I want to, personally speaking, I want to get through the spring. Miami-wise, let's get through the spring. Let's get through practice. Let's see where these kids are. Let them get out there on their own and have 7-on-7s over the summer. And then when fall camp get here, the beginning of August, okay, we'll see where we at. And then we can really put the pads on and really get at it. The summer will be winding down, and then we'll see where we're at. And don't put too much into what the cable sports network says. And for those of you down there, wherever they have a spring game, go to it. You can go. If they have an open practice, go. We can. I wish I could, but go check them out.
Yeah.
See what they looking like. But as always, it's all about the you and keep it positive. And we'll be back next weekend.
We'll be back. And if you got any pictures of the spring game, you want to send them to us, send them to my Gmail. And we're out of here.